When Toronto Mayor Olivia Chow held her first official meeting with Premier Doug Ford at Queen's Park on Monday, the outcome was tough to predict. What came of it was an agreement by the province to work out a new deal on the city's dire financial situation, a move that's being described as a seismic shift for the Premier. That description coming from our senior reporter at Queen's Park, Mike Crawley, who joins me now. Okay, Mike, put this into perspective for us. Why did you call this a seismic shift by the Premier?
Well, look, Marivelle, for 14 years, Doug Ford, ever since he first ran for City Council, has really only ever had one perspective on Toronto's finances, and that's that City Hall wastes too much taxpayer money. And this continued all through the years. His brother Rob was mayor, when he ran for mayor himself, and then during his time as premier. So all you ever heard about from Doug Ford was things like, let's stop the gravy train. When did you ever hear him say things like he did yesterday? Here's a quote: "Toronto is facing deep financial challenges that are no longer sustainable." He's talking about finding solutions that protect city services. He's not talking about cutting waste. And so this is a dramatic change in tone from Doug Ford, even from just a few months ago.
So why is it, do you figure, Ford has changed his position now?
Well, I figure there's three reasons. One is simply the results of the mayoral election. Despite him claiming that Olivia Chow was going to be an unmitigated disaster if she became Toronto's mayor, the people of Toronto elected her anyway. And Doug Ford's political instincts are, pretty strong, and strong enough to realize that she got elected with a mandate to fix the city's finances, not through a bunch of cuts of services. So the second thing I would say is Doug Ford's own political fortunes right now. He's down in the polls. He's had a really rough summer over the Greenbelt. He needs a political win and perhaps a bit of a distraction. And don't forget that 12 of the 25 seats in Toronto provincially are occupied by MPPs from his party, and they would hear it from their constituents if the province just kind of let Toronto flounder and was facing a bunch of cuts to services. The third thing, and this might even be the most important one, the province is rolling in cash. You've got a $2 billion surplus that happened in the previous year. We're about to find out what the surplus was for this past year. So there is the sense that the province is able to afford to help Toronto out of its financial hole.
Well, and Mike, at the end of that meeting, the mayor and the premier really only decided to come up with an agreement. So where do you see the process going from here?
Yeah, so they're forming what they're calling a working group. So this is going to have senior officials from provincial ministries and city departments coming up with a plan that they call a new deal for Toronto. Now, there's not supposed to be any new taxes in this deal, so that idea of a new municipal sales tax, that is dead in the water. But what is up for discussion is kind of a shift of who pays for what, shifting some of the costs that the city has to bear up to the province. And Mayor Chow listed off things like housing and transit and welfare and highways and childcare, policing as well, as areas where the province could shoulder a bigger burden. She says it's over $1 billion worth of services that the city provides that she says are provincial and federal responsibilities. So the deadline for this working group is the end of November, and that would be in time for the city's next budget cycle.
All right, our senior reporter at Queen's Park, Mike Crawley, thank you.